So, fellow Kenyans, I want us to look to continue with our discussion about the BBI document. The amendment bill, as has been tabled in the county assemblies, in different county assemblies in Kenya, it's important to note that it has direct implication, economic implication to our lives and the generations to come. And today I would like us to try and check what are these implications, or what are the effect of the BBI to the economy of our nation, and more so to the economy of yourself as a Kenyan. And because the document is very huge, I would just like today to we look into the proposal, one very key proposal of the BBI, which proposes an expansion of the legislative arm of government, and that is the parliament. Kama vile mnajua, BBI ina propose ya kwamba tutakuwa na increase in the number of constituencies, na hiyo ni vizuri tuweze kuelewa ya kwamba iko na effect kwako, kwa sababu to maintain these constituencies and to maintain these members of parliament, new members of parliament, it will not come from the principals who are or the proponents of the BBI. It will come from you Kenyans, kwa sababu nyinyi ndio mtatoshwa ushuru ili muangalie hiyo maneno. So I just want us to look at the cost benefit analysis of these new posts that we are just about to introduce, and maybe so that we can be together in this discussion, I want us to think about the current constitution, the way it is, the constitution, or the shape of the parliament as it is today in the current constitution. Currently, our parliament is divided into two. That is the National Assembly and the Senate. The National Assembly currently is composed of 349 members of parliament, the members of the National Assembly. That includes the 290 elected members of parliament. We also have 47 women reps, that is one per county, and we also have 12 nominated members of parliament. In the Senate, we have 67 senators, a total of 67 senators. This includes 47 senators elected per county, one per county, and the rest are nominated. So it comes to a total of 67 senators. So if you add up the number of members of parliament in the National Assembly, who are 349, you add to the 67 senators, it tells you that we have a total of 416 members. So our parliament already has 416 members. Under the proposals introduced by the BBI, how will the parliament look like? The BBI proposes that we increase the numbers of the National Assembly members, because first of all, the BBI proposes that we increase the number of constituencies from 290 to 360. That means we shall have 360 elected members of National Assembly. Then the BBI proposes that we shall have 4 members representing the disabled, all people with disabilities. We shall also have 2 members of National Assembly representing the youth. And then from there, in relation, it's important to remember that we have that gender rule, which has not been changed by the BBI, and therefore, so that to ensure that the National Assembly has met the threshold of not more than 2/3 of one gender to be members of in the assembly, then the BBI proposes that the extra numbers shall be nominated. actually most of the constituencies will obviously vote for one gender, particularly male. And assuming that we have 360 members of parliament being elected as male, it simply means so that we meet the two-third gender rule, then we will require to nominate at least or a maximum or about 180 new members of parliament to represent the gender that has not met the one-third in the parliament. So that simply means that the National Assembly shall have 360 elected members, 4 members for disability, 2 to represent the youth, and about 180 members of the National Assembly to meet the gender rule. Then on the other side, we shall have the Senate, which the BBI proposes that instead of having the 47 senators, 1 senator per county, the BBI proposes that we shall have 2 senators per county. That gives us a total number of senators to be 94. So if you do the calculation very well, you realize that the parliament that we shall have, both the National Assembly and the Senate, shall consist of about 640, approximately 640 members of parliament. So what does that one tell us? It simply means that we have increased, or we have we have expanded the parliament as it is today from 416 members to 640 members. That simply means an increase of 224 new members. Now, Kenyans, I want us to ask ourselves, have you ever thought about the cost of maintaining 1 member of parliament? And we ask ourselves, is this the right time to increase the already bloated parliament? If you go by the calculations of the current parliament, to maintain 1 member of parliament, you require all Kenyans spend a minimum of approximately 2 million Kenya shillings per member of parliament per month. So to maintain a member of parliament in 1 month, then you need 2 million per month. So that simply means that to maintain 1 member of parliament in a whole year, then you require 24 millions. So Kenyans, for these 224 members of parliament that we are bringing in, we are introducing by bringing BBI, then it means the 224 MPs will require taxpayers to pay 448 millions per month. This is equivalent to about 5.4 billion Kenya shillings per year. It is also important to note the current status of our country. Sahi tunaongea, our wage bill, as we talk now, is close to it's about 900 billions per year. That's the wage bill. And wage bill, I mean the salaries and remuneration of the people who are employed by the government. Our public servants spend about 900 billions per year. And remember, from the statistics that we have, these public servants, our servants, they only make 2% of the population of this nation. So you can imagine 2% of the population spend 900 billions per year. And the total revenue that we collect, on average, it's about 1.6 trillion. It's also important to remember that close to 900 billion, for example, this year of 2020-2021 budget year, we are spending about 904 billions to pay for our loans, the debts, the public debts that's already ballooning. And then here we come and we introduce a more or a bigger another budget for maintaining an extra 224 members of parliament, which requires 5.4 billion per year. Now, I want us to try and think, what can this money do? What can this 448 million per month that we are spending to pay the 224 new members of parliament do to our economy? And I want to give you a few examples. One member of parliament, na tumeona analipwa 2 million, to maintain him you need 2 million per month, is able, that money, the 2 million, is able to maintain or to pay or to employ 29 medical practitioners or medics in our hospitals and pay them at least 70,000 per month. That simply means that the 224 members of parliament, the amount that we are going to spend to maintain these new members will be equivalent to employing 6,500 medics in our hospitals so that they can give services to Kenyans. I want to give you another example. One member of parliament that we are bringing through BBI, is the amount to maintain him is equivalent to employing 66 teachers in this republic so that they can take care of our children. That simply means the 224 members of parliament, the amount that we are spending to pay these people is enough to employ 15,000 teachers in this republic. If you look at the ongoing debate about the Kazimtani, which the Treasury is telling us that they don't have money to pay the Kazimtani young people. If you look at the amount that they are paid per day, they are usually paid about 500 shillings per day. That tells us that with one extra member of parliament that we are introducing with the BBI, that one member of parliament is equivalent to maintain 200 Kazimtani workers or youth. That means the 224 members of parliament that we are told to introduce by the BBI are enough. That amount is enough to employ 44,800 youth under the Kazimtani program. And yet, we are told that the treasury does not have money, and so watu wa Kazimtani warudi nyumbani. Then you hear the proponents of the BBI are very busy telling the young people that if you pass the BBI, then you'll be given a tax holiday or you'll be given a moratorium for payment of HELB loans. I want to let Kenyans understand something here. HELB ambayo wanafunzi wa university wanapewa, one university student is usually given about an average of 40,000 shillings per year. Na hiyo ndio HELB ambayo wanapewa, alafu wanalipa hiyo loan after they complete the university education. Now, let us ask ourselves, if you are given a holiday of 4 years before you start paying the loans, is this really fair for the young people? Yet, it seems from the calculations of the BBI, Kenya already has a lot of money, which is enough to give grants to the university students, not giving them loan, but give them the grants. If the MCAs, we have 5 billion to pay them, to give them car grants, why don't we get the car grant or the grants to take care of the education of our children? Now, let us go back to the calculation of the member of parliament. One member of parliament is paid 24, to maintain him, you require 24 million per year. Yet, a student requires only 40,000 per year as a grant. That simply tells us that one member of parliament, to maintain one member of parliament, it is equivalent to maintaining or to paying, to maintaining 600 students, university students, without them paying a single coin. So it is possible in Kenya to have free university education. That simply tells us that the 224 members of parliament that we are just about to introduce by doing a mistake of passing the BBI is enough to give grants and to pay school fees for university students, total university students of about 134,400 students. So it is possible to pay 134,400 students to take them to university free of charge. And then these proponents of BBI are coming to lie to us by telling us that they are going to give us a holiday of paying the hell blown moratorium of 4 years. So then this now brings me to another question I'm asking myself. Because if you ask these people who are telling us about the new constituencies, they are telling us, and even the president is on record saying and telling the Mount Kenya people ya kwamba msipopitisha BBI mtakosa representation ama mtakuwa na pesa kidogo ya CDF. And in fact, he set the Mount Kenya people against other tribes or other communities by telling us that the others are given so much bursaries. Let me ask, and I want us to be very keen here, Kenyans. Kama rais na huyu jamaa ambaye anaitwa Raila Odinga na viongozi wengine ambao wanatuambia tupitishe BBI, kama wako na haja na resources ziweze kuja kwa constituencies ambazo ziko underrepresented, then they are doing a contrary thing by introducing new constituencies and new extra members of parliament. Why? Let us try to imagine if we had 224 members of parliament, new members of parliament introduced in parliament by the BBI. What does the amount that we are spending to maintain these members of parliament, what can it do to our constituencies? Remember, only 70 constituencies are being added in the whole republic. So, under our calculation that we did above, tumeona ya kwamba 5.4 billion is being spent to maintain the 224 members of parliament. What does 5.4 billion per year do to the 70 constituencies we are told that they want to add to increase? Kama constituency ya Ruiru, constituency ingine kama ya Kiharu na zinginezo ambazo ziko kwa region zetu, even in Kiambu, the 70 constituencies, if you want to have money come to the ground, we can spend these 5.4 billion that we are spending with the new members of parliament and add it to the CDF. Because 5.4 billion Kenya shillings, if you divide that by the 70 constituencies that we are getting, then it means each constituency can get an additional 74 millions. But remember, the 5.4 billion that we have just talked about is to give to individuals, the 224 new members of parliament. But if we spend that money to give to the constituencies, hiyo ni pesa ambayo itaenda kwa watu wote, wananchi wote ambao wanafanya kazi kulida wananchi. Kujenga taifa letu. So the 77 million, what can it do? It is enough to give at least 5,100 students a bursary of at least 15,000 per student. 5,100 students. Hiyo ndio ile pesa ambayo tunaenda kulipa new members of parliament. Pesa ambayo iko na uwezo wa kulipia wanafunzi 5,100 bursary ya 15,000 kila mmoja. Then let us even assume that the 5.4 billion Kenyan shillings that we are just about to give to the new members of parliament, wacha tuseme ipatiwe constituencies zote equally. Then it means the 290 constituencies, each constituency will get an additional 18.5 million Kenya shillings for development. Kila constituency, kama hatutaongeza watu kwa bunge. Kwa hivyo tukiangusha BBI ni kumaanisha ni pesa zinakuja kwa mfuko ya wananchi, sio pesa ambayo itaenda kupatia girlfriends wa watu ambao watakuwa nominated. And that 18.5 million Kenya shillings is enough to take care of at least 1,233 students in every constituency, ukiwapatia bursary ya 15,000 Kenya shillings. Kwa hivyo ukifanya hiyo hesabu unaona ya kwamba kupitisha hii kitu ambayo inaitwa BBI Amendment Bill ni kumaanisha pesa kwa mifuko ya the few, and that is why we are saying this BBI is to create jobs for a few guys and their friends, kwa sababu wale ambao wanatuambia tupitisha wanatuambia mambo ya representation na wengine wanatuambia CDF funds. So that way we don't need to pass the BBI, because if we pass BBI it means more taxes to Kenyans to take care of the few people. But then, as I conclude, let us ask ourselves, does our current constitution address the problem of representation? Does it address the problem of the disparities in the sharing of revenue? And the answer is simply yes. Because the current constitution tells us that we can only have 290 constituencies. You cannot add or subtract a constituency because that is a provision in the constitution. And therefore wale watu ambao wanadanganya watu ya kwamba kuna constituency moja ama ingine tusipopitisha BBI itaondolewa kwa kuwa constituency, hiyo ni uongo mtupu. Wacha watu waambiane ukweli. Katiba imeprotect all the constituencies, 280 constituencies. Lakini hapo chini article 89 sabbatical 2 it talks about IEBC, imepatia IEBC kazi ya kwenda kubadilisha boundaries kwa sababu ya kuangalia mambo ya representation. Kwa hivyo saa hii tusipopitisha BBI ni kumaanisha IEBC itaendelea na kazi yake ya kubadilisha boundaries ili zile constituencies ambazo zimekuwa underrepresented ziweze kuwa dogo kidogo, nazo zile ambazo zimekuwa na watu kidogo zikuwe zimepanuliwa. Kwa hivyo wale watu ambao wanadanganya watu ya kwamba BBI itakuja kusaidia watu na mambo ya representation, katiba already imepatiana hiyo kazi kwa IEBC. All the IEBC that requires to do is to make sure that it is using the correct data, and that is the data ambayo ni ya 2019 census. Kwa hivyo hayo mambo ni mambo ambayo imeshughulikiwa kwa hiyo BBI. Hiyo kitu ingine ambayo tunaambiwa ni mambo ya CDF. Kwenda ati constituencies zingine ziko na basari kubwa kushinda zile zingine. Nataka tuambiane ukweli ya kwamba kama rais na rafiki yake Raila Odinga wako na haja ya kusaidia Wakenya wale ambao wako na population kubwa, vile it is very simple, kwa sababu wataenda tu waambie wabunge wao waende wabadilishe National Government CDF Act ili waseme ya kwamba hatutakuwa tukigawanya CDF equal per constituency, lakini tutakuwa tukitumia population ili tuweze kukua wale ambao wako na constituencies kidogo kubwa waweze kupata pesa kulingana na population yao. Hatuhitaji kwenda kwa BBI kubadilisha katiba. So mimi nataka kuuliza wa Kenya, ni vizuri ujiulize hivi swali. Ukienda kuangalia mambo ya BBI, acha kushinda ukiangalia MCA wanapitisha nini, kwa sababu MCA washapatiwa milioni 2 kila mmoja ili wakuwe bribed kupitisha hiyo kitu. Swali ile unafaa kujiuliza ni simple. Unataka kuongeza mzigo kwa ile mzigo uko nayo ili ufinance wabunge extra, ama unataka pesa ikuje kwako upatiwe basari ufanye maendeleo kupitia CDF, ama unataka pesa zikuwe zikienda kwa individuals na familia zao? Kwa hayo machache tutaendelea kuchambua hii BBI mpaka tufike mwisho na tuweze kuielewa vizuri, na msibabaishwe na wale ambao wanaipitisha kwa county assembly. Sauti ya mwisho itakuwa kwa Wajiko wewe mwenyewe, na pesa ambayo inatolewa ushuru wewe mwenyewe ndiye unalipa, sio MCA peke yao. Na mkumbuke pia kuna zingine ambazo zinaenda kupatianwa kwa members of parliament ili nao wapitishe. Kwa hivyo Wajiko wewe mwenyewe ufikirie na uone